trouble. G'day, legends. It's Jim Does Supercoach. AFL wrap. That's right, the season is done. What a season it was. Had everything. The highs, the lows, the injuries. Oh, Lord. Anyway, so we are going to wrap up the 2026 AFL Supercoach season. How I ended up, all that sort of stuff. What we learned, that's the big thing. I love looking back at a Supercoach season. Doesn't matter your sort of code or whatever, but really looking back at what you've learned and how you sort of approach things maybe next year if you can remember to do so. So we'll quickly go through 5 things we learned from this season, our best trades, our worst trades, some bigger surprises, and what we're going to be doing for NFL and NBA from here on out. So it's going to be a good one. But how did we finish off the year? How did you go in your round 24? I managed a 24-19, sort of dodging all of the sort of like Neo in the Matrix, all the injury bullets. I think I fielded 23, I want to say. Maybe 22, which is, so there's probably one donut. With all the injuries, all that sort of stuff going on, I think I had I think 22 out of the 23, because with Herbert on field, Hugo Hawker-Hahn on field, etc., etc. So it wasn't too bad. So I'll take the 24-19. That meant I rose another 1,214 spots overall to finish up 5,855 overall. You might go, geez, 5,855. Mate, I will take a top 3% finish every day of the week for AFL Supercoach. NBA, NFL, that's my bag. I get that. I'm going to be much higher. But yeah, top 3% for AFL. Bang, you little ripper. So I think, this is also sort of what we sort of read into the final couple of weeks of Supercoach, is that obviously the Sydney Swans saga sinks a bunch of Supercoaches. Try saying that 3 times fast. And really, that's kind of what it came down to in the final round. GV Vikings, the bloke person, I don't know, Ashley, could be male or female or whatever. That's awesome. GV Vikings came second, overtaken in that last round. Pretty disastrously, right? The GV Vikings team having a bunch of injuries. Horn-Francis, Petrarca, and, playing Jack Ison on field, etc. And Jack's squad, coached by Jack, being the winner by having, I think, no donuts, maybe Banfield. Yeah, Banfield on field, but actually still fielding a full squad out there. So that's not bad. So congrats to Jack's squad, coached by Jack. But I guess out of all of this, I think I managed to make it to the grand final of the Footy Unfiltered League, which I then lost. So congrats in the Footy Unfiltered League to the winner of the league, Bad Boy Bolter. Who was that? Tom. That's awesome. Good job. Managed to win one of our other leagues. I managed to win the consolation bracket. Pretty awesomely, actually, to win it all the way through. But still, all right, what do we learn? What do we come out of this year thinking? What do we feel? Well, it was a strange year, and I think the one thing that you sort of always have a shining light on when it comes to your Supercoach with AFL, with the limited trades, is, I guess, we probably now need best 18 scoring in round 24, and we probably need to keep a couple more trades, because I'll tell you what, that run from essentially after the buys, we lost a major Supercoach name week on week until the end of the season. It's pretty tough. But I guess looking at some of the ranks overall stuff, like the biggest surprises, etc., we'll get to that in a second, but I think out of the top 20 average per game, I had 14 in my team across the year, right? Butters and Holmes were late outs, obviously, from the team. It took me a while to get Max Holmes into my team, which is probably, I think he and Bazilenka, Bailey Smith, are probably my 2 biggest misses early on, trying to sort of like dodge a couple of bullets. Like, I thought Bailey Smith was a bit overpriced early on, Max Holmes as well. Once Holmes dropped, I jumped on him, felt pretty good about that, and then, of course, he gets hurt. So that was a bit of a rough one. But I guess out of the top 20 averages across the entirety of AFL Supercoach, the only ones I didn't have were Max Gawn, because I was going with the Grundy, Cherry, Luke Jackson triumvirate with the 2 rucks and the flex. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about and the things to learn about. Jeez. So didn't have Max, didn't have Basilenko, as mentioned, didn't have Ed Richards, who was just super duper solid all year. Zeret was another one I didn't have, Will Ashcroft and LDU. And so when we look at the things that we learned, well, let's start at the top, shall we? Back your instincts. Don't overreact to rule changes. And I'll tell you what, a lot of this as well sort of comes down to back your instincts, don't overreact overall, and don't overreact to rule changes. Max Gawn still being like the number one player across the entire season of AFL Supercoach this year is pretty crazy. 2,945 total points. See, you can try to moneyball it, try to be a bit smart like me. Luke Jackson came second overall, which is good because I did love Luke Jackson heading into the season. But outside of that, yeah, going with Grundy, who sort of dropped off a bit, and Cherry in there as well. Just could have just gone Gawn. Would have been all good. But because the rule changes we're looking at heading into the season, you're like, oh, geez, is this going to help Gawn? Is it going to help Cherry? And Cherry, it sort of felt like such a hit and miss player throughout the season. Gawn was just so super duper solid the entire time. Roll gold. That's what he is. Even Bont and Dacos, like you sort of don't overreact. We know they're going to be awesome, right? And people sort of trying to dodge that. Oh, I'm not going to start with Bont. Smart. He ends up losing, 200K, dropping 200K across the season. But still very good. Like Dacos finishes 30K cheaper than he started the year. Bont 191,000 cheaper than he started, with a 515 to roll it out. But that's kind of the story about most of the top players. They all lost cash across the entire year, except for, there you go, Shees. But that's mostly because he didn't play that last round. So anyway, but back your instincts is the sort of one, right? Don't overreact. The problem for my team was probably that Sam Walsh and Caleb Sarong, you're sort of instinctually going, look, I think Sarong can put up really, really big numbers consistently. And as good as Freo were, the sort of emergence of some of their younger dudes meant that Sarong didn't have to be the be-all and end-all. And that's the sort of problem, right? Whereas you look at someone like Bailey Smith, be-all, end-all. Max Holmes, be-all, end-all. Walsh, he was very, very good, but I think watching some of his preseason stuff, and he was very good across the back half of the year, and it sort of felt like his a couple of his clangers here and there didn't really help his cause. But they end up the 22 and 23rd ranked mids overall, I think, was where it sort of landed. So they were in my team essentially all season. And you sort of look at where they could have started off with, probably would have been better served having like Will Ashcroft or Ed Richards or even Zeret in there to start off with. So I think, actually, out of the mids overall, Sam Walsh ends up 13, I think. Yeah, there you go. It's not bad. And then Caleb Sarong, however, a little bit further down, 39. Oof. But anyway, so back your instincts, but, and I don't want to, like the entire thing is don't side swap primos. And those were the two dudes in the gun the entire back half of the season. If we had have avoided any sort of injury, bad luck, they would have been sort of upgrade targets, the sort of mids to go up a little bit. But at the same time, yeah, Walsh and Sarong, interesting one to keep in the back of the old bonds for next year. I think Sam Walsh is very, very, very good. Just don't know if it's going to end up being a great Supercoach role. Whereas you look at someone like Naz, Bailey Smith coming across half back, that's just a little bit different, isn't it? Same with Sarong. Right, so number one, back your instincts. Don't sideswap your primos. Don't overreact. Don't overreact to rule changes. And just go get Max Gawn. I think that's number one. Number two, mid-prices, don't do it. We learn this every year. This year, we all thought we were smarter than. I started with Fonte, Tanner Brune, and Connor Buderick. They were all gone out of my team pretty quickly because I realized, at least I think the good thing with my team is that I sort of realized the mistake and jumped off as quickly as I possibly could. And they do at least provide like a jumping off point for pretty quick upgrades, right? So Buderick was out in round 5 for me. What else was there? Brune was out in round 8. And Fonte was out in round 4. So yeah, there you go. Fonte and Buderick are out in round 5, and round 8, Tanner Bruin finally goes. He was pretty solid, though. It's just their punch for the dollars just not quite worth it, where if I had have just gone with one more primo and then probably 2 more rookies, it probably would have been better serving and probably would have evened out in terms of the actual scoring. So it's handy stepping stones, I get that, but by the same token, it probably hamstrung my side earlier on in the season. We're having like one more primo in the team. Like Bruin, Fonte, and Buderick all ended up scoring. Well, Bruin ends up on 398k, Fonte 361, and Buderick 308. Their roles look pretty juicy, but after the first month of footy, you very quickly realise, oh, maybe not. And I did jump off as quickly as I possibly could. Fonte was pretty solid, but yeah, getting to actual super duper primos quicker, or having them in your team to start off with, is better serving you across the season. Number 3, things we learned. Maybe just tread with caution in general. Right? Panic injury trades. Oh, he's gone. I've got to keep up with everybody. We can maybe just hold off. Right? I think I held off for trading out Petrarca for at least a week or 2 after he got injured. I traded him out in round 4, but also traded out Cherry. And then, of course, those 2 came back into my team later on in the season to mixed results. So there's 4 trades right off the bat that had just gone because I could have just held on. Petrarca comes back into my team. He leaves round 4, comes back in round 9. Cherry leaves in round 4, comes back in round 15. But you sort of look at the interceding weeks, what might have happened. Petrarca obviously had some pretty weird ones. I brought in Darcy and Bontempelli for Cherry and Petrarca in round 4. Sam Darcy felt like a good, POD for a little minute there, and then he gets hurt almost straight away. So that was, not great. He was out in round 7. But anyway, panic injury trades. I held Rankin. I learned my lesson. I held Rankin later on. I held Naz later on in the season as well. And that was fine, right? You're not burning trades. And still managed to stay within, the top echelons of both leagues and the overall ranks. But you sort of wonder if you had those couple of trades handy, still in pocket later on in the season, what might have been. So panic injury trades, just tread with caution unless it's probably over a 4-week period. I think anything under 4 weeks, we can just go, I'll just chuck him on my bench and ride it out, especially with best 22 scoring. And especially early on when you've got like best 18 scoring with some of the early buys. Number 4, this is the one that got me really badly this year. Don't pay up when players are at their obvious peak. It killed me. Bont comes in at 709k. Yeah, that's a tough one. Cherry is traded out when he's at 682k. Oof, still pretty rough. Start of the season with him. Grundy, however, was the tough one. Comes into the team at 698k. And tell you what, after that, it was, Grundy was still very, very, very good, but ends up at 537 overall. And that stretched down the end of the season. He finished off the year with 4 straight tons. Didn't go under 90 for the entire year, I want to say. He had 89. There you go. He had 89 in round 1. So it's super duper solid. But yeah, paying for him at 698k when it's absolutely at his peak in round 6. Tough one because he still goes on to have like massive scores. He has the 203 against Collingwood, etc. But, it's just one of those ones you go, ooh, if I had jumped on earlier, he was at 661, 653. But then after he sort of peaks at the, 698k. That's quite literally the highest mark that he got to. So he scores 151 and dropped 2k the week after. And even after the 203, he drops 290s after that. He's sort of sitting around the 660. So, yeah, if you're looking at it and going, ooh, we're going to get to 700k somehow, maybe just... You might have to bite the bullet and go, that's not for me. Not for me. Archie Roberts was another one, 597k when he came into my team. Petrarca, when he came back in, he was at 562k. Because that's it. It's the psychology of if I don't get him in now, I'll miss out on his obvious other massive scores that are incoming and he'll just keep going to the moon. That's not really how Supercoach works. Even if the break-evens aren't that crazy, it's very hard, priced at that like massive price point, to keep hitting it and not lose value. So we're looking for value in Supercoach. They weren't exactly value. Grundy was very good, but yeah, like the inevitable sort of, he gets 105, 196, and in that time he's dropping 50K, right? That's how it sort of goes. So paying up when players are at their obvious peak, just got to avoid it. And final one that we got to learn, probably even better, is like timing the jump off of the rookies. I think I did very well in this year, except for Jagger Smith, my beloved blue Jagger Smith. I jumped off Farrow and Gothard at the exact right time. Josh Lindsay made a little bit more cash, but he would then dropped after that. Blamires, McCarroll, Lockie Jacks, all gone at the exact sort of right time. Braden Cook could have stuck around for a little bit longer. Selwood got rid of him at the right time. Leo Lombard, Todd Marshall, when he was 250K. Love that. Held on to him, jumped off the exact right spot. Rechko, basically jumping off them at the right time was very good. And I also managed to cut bait ASA and P when it obviously wasn't working for the likes of Philippou, Dyson Sharp, Jack Watkins, a couple of the other ones. Even Milan Murdoch, jumped off him, and that was kind of like, not a bad sort of spot. I think he ends up at 342. I jumped off at 355. So he had a great season. But yeah, he was 355K when I jumped off in round 14, just as the slide started, and then he lost like another 50K over the next couple of weeks. So timing your run at jumping off the rookies and obviously getting your rookies right. I think I did a pretty good job of that this year. Dyson Sharp was always the sort of, I don't know, the coin toss. Like I had Farrow and Sharp, and you're sort of looking at the Bombers rookies and you're like, Brad Scott, what's he going to do? Turns out even Brad Scott didn't know what he was going to do, right? That's why he got fired. So here we are. So those are the 5 big things to sort of come out of the season. Back your instincts. Don't overreact. Don't sideswap your primos. I didn't do so much. I didn't do much sideswapping at all. I liked, but then that sort of fed into the injury one, didn't it? Mid prices almost never work out, so just avoid it. We all think each year, this is the year mid prices. Just nah. Panic injury trades. If it's going to be over 4 weeks, trade them. If it's not going to be, you can probably hold on. Even in the case of Archie Roberts, he sort of came back. It looked like it was going to be a lot longer than it was. He came back and he wasn't quite as good, so that's a bit of a dodge one. But panic injury trades, just use a little caution. 4, don't pay up when the players are at their obvious peak. This is the one that got me psychologically. You're like, but I don't want to miss out on the massive Brody Grundy scores. Should have been doing other things, I think, with that cash. Just saying. But Grundy was very, 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 very good. But paying up at the exact point as I did. Like Bont was obviously at 709K, fantastic. But if you just hold for a little bit, who knows? If you look at Bont, when I brought him in at the 709K mark after round 2, he comes in, because that's like basically on his, he's going to go up after that because he's ripped off a 113, a 160, and a 141. I bring him in, he has 153. You're like, aha, I'm the smartest person who ever lived. He goes up to 722, but then after that, it's just bleeding money. And at some point, after maybe round 6, you get him at 603K, and then he rips off a 135 against Sydney, a 118 against Freo, a 163 against Port, and starts building back up. So I guess, yeah, not paying up when they're at their obvious peak and trying to maybe time it when they're on the downswing and before they're, come back up. That's what you want to be doing. And the same thing goes for timing your rookie jump-offs. I did that pretty well this year. Pretty happy with that across the board with some of the cash cows, so happy days there. But still, the best trades I had, bringing in Isaac Rankin in round 11. Enjoyed that one. That was out goes Braden Cook and Selwood. In comes Wade Dirksen, the legend, and Isaac Rankin at 493K. He ends up finishing as the highest priced player in Supercoach. Pretty good. It's a great run home, even with the was an injury suspension in there. There. Jason Horne-Francis coming in round 13 at 443K. Bang, nailed that. JHF. That was also getting poor Stupid Sexy Flanders. Sam Flanders goes out with his Achilles. Rechko goes out for me as well. Edwards as well at that point. In comes Heaney and Horne-Francis. Heaney was really good for the next month or so and then dropped off and obviously then was suspended. But Horn Francis, round 13. Heaney was very, very solid too as well. Round 3, pivoting straight to Luke Jackson right off the bat and looking at the situation there in St Kilda, where I thought TDK would be a little bit more mobile, have a lot more of the ball, and he said, nah, just not at all. Luke Jackson was doing that out west. So in he came. Gordon goes out in round 2. Comes back into my team in round 21. One of the best trades I made all year too. He was awesome. How good was he those last few weeks? Whoa, Errol, you came back into my team and you smashed it. Comes back in, rips off, 147, 144, 134, 151, 119. Unreal. Worst trades, Finn Callahan. I expect a lot more out of Finn Callahan. 498k, I brought him in round 9. Traded out at 465k in round 21. So I sat there for the next 13 rounds losing money. Just increments. He had 5 tons in that time, but just never the massive sort of consistent spike score. Yeah, that's a tough one. Petrarca as well at the same time. Came in at 562k, drops down to 320k. It was absolutely horrible. Only 3 tons the rest of the season after round 9. Disaster. Took Miller, round 14. Feeling pretty good, feeling pretty great. It was either between him and Chad Warner. That was a disaster, at least until round 22 and round 24 when he had a 157 in round 22 and a 163 in the final round. Thank you, Took. That's the footy gods looking out for you instead of the Chad Chudley Warners. I love Chad Chudley Warner, we understand that. But the Sydney Swan saga, Chad, what are you doing? The worst trade was simply just bringing in Dan Houston. 431k in round 3. Cheap primo defender, we all thought. He finished at 370k and was still in my team. It's just, talk about that was the side swapping last upgrade I would have liked to have done if it weren't for all the injuries, but here we go. So yeah, biggest surprises out of the year. I got to full primo fairly quickly, which is good. But again, one of the surprises is the injury still got me. And at some point, we're going to learn that that's not much of an injury there, Jim. Not much of a surprise there, Jim. So yeah, I guess. One of the biggest surprises was Clary Oliver. At certain times throughout the season, he was in 18.7 teams throughout the year. He tonned up a lot, but GW, like without Tom Green there for the Giants, the problem was when you needed him most. This is the Clayton Oliver experience. When you need him most, he did nothing. Finished off the year against Port Adelaide, 76. Gold Coast, 83. West Coast, 100. Adelaide, 70. Brutal. He got up to like 555k, I think, in the middle of the year. There we go. Absolutely crushing it, averaging like 109. Still averaging 110 after his big 142 in round 11 at 544. And just nice little run there in 16, 17, 18, but just tough one. Isaac Rankin finishing as the highest priced player at 733k is pretty crazy. Bit of a surprise. Incredible run home. I mean, holy moly, just incredible gear. Finishes off the year with a 149, 120, 101, 158, 223, 157, 187. Bang. Not bad, good size. He was awesome and in my team for all that stretch, so that's why you don't trade him out. Ed Richards, obviously a big surprise as well. He had a really, really, really good year. Finishes up, 11th? Is that out of the mids, I want to say? Yeah, out of for average. For total points, he's 7th overall. Finishes off with a 137. He was really, really good. Just super consistent. Like, he dropped an 85 and a 72 in there. There was a 62 against the Blues back in round 10. But otherwise, just Mr. Consistent. And the biggest surprise is, look, I think there's a couple of little glimmerings of hope that you look into, like, for next year. You look at Sam Lawler, Murphy and Harley Reid, Jagger Smith, obviously. Just these sort of possession-gathering, really super-duper solid young midfielders is very, very fun. I guess the other sort of big surprise for me is that defense this year was just horrible, right? Your leading, I guess the biggest surprise is your highest scoring defender was Lockie Ash, who was in my team for a big chunk of it as well. The weapon Johnny Noble comes in second. Luke Parker third. Mostly because of injuries. Everybody else gets knocked out. Like the top averaging ones is Max Holmes, gone. Naz, gone. Jack Sinclair, gone. Ashton Whitfield, hold on. Jake Bowie finishes sixth. He had a great year. Bailey Dowell was gone. Came back in the last game. Manages an 84. I guess, yeah, the biggest surprise being your highest scoring defender was Lockie Ash is a pretty big one too. Max Gawn still being the top scorer in Supercoach in 2026 is also a bit of a surprise. And I guess the last one is that the forwards, if you actually look across the entire season, Max Hall comes flying out of absolutely nowhere to be your second highest scoring forward with 2,310 total Supercoach points. Average-wise, he wasn't quite there because he's the fourth highest average with 100. But yeah, overall, bloody good. Brad Hill, 300 games, 161 he scores in his 300th game. Cozzy and Took come fourth and fifth in terms of total points. Chad Warner in sixth. The surprise is Josh Tracy, managing seventh overall, having 59 in the last round. Didn't help playing up against the Blues, but it's like Rankin, Horn Francis missing games hurt their overall total points, but their average is right up there. So if you look at the averages, Sheasel, Rankin, JHF, Max Hall, Chad Warner, and Brad Hill. Weird mix of your top six. I'll tell you that much. But anyway, so it was a good year. I'll take it. We now head into the finals, which is Josh Fraser's hoodies in this one. It's just a bit of a weird one where you've got to pick players for week one only. You got to refresh for each weeker of the finals. It's unlimited. It'll be kind of fun, but it's not as good as the other one, so we're not going to do any shows about it. So I'll head into the week, I guess. I mean, if you look at who's on all these teams, it's I think I'll go Bowie and Dacos early on. Dacos and Bont and probably Cripps. Maybe Ed Richards, I don't know. The Rucks, you're going to go Gawn and probably make him the captain up against Pitto. Maybe Darcy Cameron as your flex. But in the forwards, I'll probably go Benny Ainsworth is pretty good. Francisco Evans has been unreal. Big Harry McFive. Yeah, it's a bit light on the ground for your forwards. Probably DeGoey and somebody else in the forward line. Benny Ainsworth. Let's go. Benny Ainsworth. And in the flex, Ed Richards probably for me. There we go. Not a bad team. That's my team for the finals. All right. But there you go. That's it. AFL Supercoach 2026 all wrapped up for you. What a year it was. Injuries got us all at the end, I reckon. But there you go. Always, we're going to save some trades. It'll be interesting to see if they give us more trades next year or if we look at round 24, best of 18 scoring, etc. Just because everyone gets absolutely poleaxed by unavoidable resting, injuries, tapping outs, etc. So, just saying. But anyway, this show will continue on. We are going straight into NFL Supercoach. We've already done one NFL Supercoach intro show last week. We'll be doing another big one this week, which is overpriced and underpriced, the 10 best of each. So your 10 most undervalued and your 10 most overvalued in NFL Supercoach. Build your team. We'll be all over that. NBA Supercoach as well, if that comes back. NBL Supercoach. We probably won't do a show, but you got the basketball blokes for that. They all rule. So just jump all over them. But yeah, we'll still have NBA and NFL Supercoach on the Jim Does Supercoach feed. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you stay up to date on all the socials, etc. I don't know what to fight you, but I will. So go subscribe, go like it. Jump in the comments, send us any questions, etc. Jump in, on the socials. Hit us up with any yeah-nahs, any big questions that you want answered. I'll endeavour to answer them. Thanks for all the support during the AFL season. It's been absolutely awesome. I love your guts. And we'll see you later this week on this feed for NFL Supercoach. Until then, happy Supercoaching.